So, Sonic Forces overall a pretty shit game, not only from its heavily scripted and short gameplay, but also its cringeworthy and try-hard dark and edgy storyline. People try to praise this game for its darker story and more serious tone, particularly in saying how it's unique. Rather than trying to stop Eggman from taking over the world, he's already done so, and you're merely a small group of resistance fighters just trying to survive in the Mad Doctor's world. This could have actually been a really interesting concept, if pulled off correctly, but sadly due to the plot hole-ridden story, overly edgelord villains and repulsive dialogue, it didn't really have much opportunity to shine. Still, there was one show back in the 90s that also tried this darker and more serious tone, and you know what? It worked.
Blue streak speeds by Sonic the Hedgehog.
This is, dare I say it, not only the best TV series of Sonic the Hedgehog, but also the best way the entire series has ever interpreted Sonic the Hedgehog. The series takes the usual bright and colourful world of Sonic and completely turns it on its head. The series is dark and the story is dramatic. The series I'm talking about, of course, is the Sonic the Hedgehog series, which originally aired back in 1993 to 1994. Later this series would develop the nickname Sonic SatAM because it aired on Saturday mornings, and just calling a TV series Sonic the Hedgehog gets very confusing as the franchise develops. The story takes place on Mobius, which is basically Earth, except instead of humans there are animals, and the world has been taken over by the villainous Dr. Robotnik. And all that's left is a small group of resistance fighters consisting of Sonic and his friends, who call themselves the Freedom Fighters. They need to stop Dr. Robotnik and re-liberate the world to restore freedom amongst everyone. I remember this as a kid, setting my alarm on the Saturday morning so I could get up and not miss a single episode of this show. And if I did fail to get up, I would ask my parents to record it on VHS. Yes, that's right, VHS, I'm old. First thing you'll notice about this show is the atmosphere it presents. There are two main settings: the forest, where the Freedom Fighters are hiding, and Robotropolis, which is Robotnik's capital city. Look at the art style, there is such a contrast between these two places. The forest is bright, warm, colourful, makes you feel relaxed and safe. Robotropolis, on the contrary, is full of these dark, metallic colours, and there is always a level of tension as you feel Robotnik's ever-looming presence. This atmosphere was complemented by a more serious and plot-driven story that had continuity and character development. Early on in the series, we find that Sonic's Uncle Chuck has been captured and roboticized by Robotnik. Sonic is determined to get his old uncle back and tries to get him to remember who he once was. For a while, it seems to work, only to have him revert back at the end of the episode.
It's all right, Sonic. We saved Mobius. That's the important thing.
We've got to get you back to Knothole. Warp 7.
It's too late, Sonic.
Uncle Chuck? No way am I leaving you here.
Sonic, he's turned back.
Leaving Sonic devastated. This side plot and others like it continue to develop throughout the series, giving each of the characters more depth, emotion, and motivation. And let's talk about the characters. Every one of these characters just feels as though they were done right. Princess Sally is like a less annoying version of Amy. She actually has her own character and isn't just there to drip wet whenever Sonic's present. Tails is heavily downplayed in this series, mostly serving as a side character, which you could argue is a negative, but at this point, Tails was nothing more than a sidekick to Sonic, who was just more there to get in trouble so Sonic could save. As for Sonic himself, he's still got that cocky and slightly cheesy attitude, but it's not overdone. Definitely not to the cringe fest levels that we see in more modern Sonic titles.
Hey, did somebody here order a clobbering? Are you sure? It says somebody ordered an extra large clobbering topped with everything. Okay. Tell you what, I can't take this thing back, so I'll give you an extra large clobbering for nothing. Hope you're hungry.
In this series, Sonic is cool because he knows he's cool, but he can also become very serious and emotional at the given time. Sometimes Sonic's arrogance is actually played out as a flaw, and often ends up getting him in trouble as he rushes into a situation without thinking it out firsthand. This is part of the reason why the other characters, such as Sally, who is more level-headed, have relevance, because they counteract his flaws. But let's get on to the biggest character of the series who absolutely steals the show.
Snively, what color is my heart?
I don't say out, sir.
Exactly.
Dr. Robotnik. This guy is a ruthless and calculating villain. In the Sonic series, it's always been stated how Robotnik has an incredibly high IQ with the ability to create a robot army with ease, yet he's always portrayed as some goofball who is easily outwitted by Sonic and his friends. This never really made sense to me personally. In this show, Dr. Robotnik is actually a threat, and you believe that a man of this nature could have actually taken over the world. Just look at the first scene we're introduced to this mad doctor.
Good morning, Dr. Robotnik. Exciting trip?
Shut up, Snively.
Dr. Robotnik, or Eggman, whatever you want to call him, has never been such a badass in the entire series of Sonic. Even in Sonic Forces, where they attempted to make him more evil and serious, it was nothing in comparison to this guy. And it's this type of villain persona that I believe actually works best for a Sonic the Hedgehog series. Having someone who is cold, ruthless, and a dictator hell-bent on order and control is the perfect contrast to Sonic's fun-loving and carefree attitude. Unfortunately, however, despite this series being well received, it was cancelled after its second season, leaving the fans on a cliffhanger where Robotnik has seemingly been defeated and a new villain was about to rise up to take his place.
Well, don't celebrate too soon, Hedgehog. Now, it's my turn. And I'm not alone!
Having this show cancelled was gut-wrenching for me as a child, and without the internet, what it is today, getting information on whether there were more episodes was not possible. So we sat and we waited, only to find that when a new series of Sonic the Hedgehog came out, it was this garbage. But that's a video for another day. In conclusion, Sonic SatAM, in my opinion, is the way the Sonic series should be handled. A larger focus on plot and character development with a more darker and serious tone. Who knows, we are living in a time when nostalgia is running high and retro is the new market. We might very well get a chance to see a resurgence of this classic series if enough voices are raised for it. But at the same time, I'm cautiously optimistic. Seeing Sega's latest attempt at a more serious story tone and their seemingly disconnection from the Sonic fanbase, it does not bode well. But at least until then, we'll still have the classic series to look back on and enjoy.